it's been a hot topic in
Yeah.
in running, right? In
Right.
track,
Yeah.
and I mean, in no small part because, of course, Oscar Pistorius,
Yeah.
right? You know, he was obviously world class athlete, double amputee. He used what's called the flex foot cheetah. So that was invented back in the 1980s by this guy Van Phillips, who was really more a recreational runner, lost
Yeah.
a lower limb, and then was super frustrated because he wanted to run, and everything at the time would break. Right? They
Yeah.
were these metal or wood and just break. And so he figured out this carbon fiber and the bend in it, and he called it cheetah based on he looked at the shape of a cat leg, a cheetah leg.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
inventors get inspired by all kinds of things.
Wow. Now that I can put two and two together now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Cam, I didn't mention the other day. Sorry to jump in, you guys, but you guys jump in after this. But yeah, the Oscar Pistorius guy he was talking about, he actually competed in I think he went to the Olympic trials, but didn't make it. He was beating people. He was beating people. Yeah, he was like a couple places away from making it to the Olympics. The I don't want to say the normal Olympics, but you know what I'm saying, not the Paralympics, the Summer Olympics. He was almost there. So yeah, that's why I was kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how I would feel if this guy's beating me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so he fought a real battle to get to the Olympics because he was running in the Paralympics and in other competitions, and his times were really getting right close to qualifying for Olympics. And so he basically was qualifying, and then they said, no, you can't compete. And what they did, this is interesting, where you get into kind of how do you determine what's fair when it comes to a prosthetic, right? So of course it's not the same as a human leg. So they run these tests and they show that in like the full run, when you're up and in full run mode, it gives you a very slight advantage over a human leg. But it turns out then they do some additional testing, and one of the fairness questions, like who's paying for this testing? Like, why does the athlete, and a lot of athletes really don't have much money, right? You get outside of some of the premier sports, and especially people with disabilities, those sports do not attract the same level of sponsorship.
Right.
So they do additional testing, and it turns out with the prostheses, you're slower out of the starting gate, out of the kickoff point. So there's some disadvantage and then there's advantage. And how do you evaluate that? Like, what do you call? So they did actually let him compete in the London Olympics 2012. He did not medal, but he did actually get to compete. So there was the first case of, a Paralympic athlete competing in the able-bodied
Olympics. Yeah.
So he didn't medal, and then of course the extreme tragedy or whatever of him killing his wife, pretty extreme. So but there have been other
mental health is a whole nother field.
different
check on the mental health.
Different podcasts to come.
Exactly.
But it's to this day a real issue where you got to ask, like, who is it that should pay for the testing? How do you determine what's fair, what's not fair? It's basically still a little bit unresolved.